Back on TYT Sports, back with Francis Maxwell. We found him. We didn't just replace him.
Good song by Drake.
No, decent song by Drake. But we'll get into more music stuff later on. We have a wide variety of things to talk about today. But the Hoops Hype released the 10 most paid international players of all time. The 10 richest NBA players. Hoops Hype is an NBA blog and also college basketball blog. Regardless, normally we do these ones where we just start off with the number one is, and we talk about it, and then we kind of go into the others. But instead, we're going to tease.
Yeah, we have no element of suspense.
Yeah,
we're just like, all right, we'll like finish in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Which you
would
know about, Francis. Beat him.
Set myself up.
Andrei Kirilenko from Mother Russia. Andrei Kirilenko has always looked like a Bond villain with a smile.
Yeah.
If you look at a picture
and it's a good Bond name as well.
So one of the things to keep in mind with this list as we run through it is the guys that are newer, for example, Nene, who came out of Brazil, of course is going to be at 122 million because
money is
the money
more prominent now.
It's exactly. There's also inflation and stuff like that. Like Manu Ginobili, one of the guys who deserves every cent of it. Another one, Hakeem Olajuwon from Nigeria with 107 million career earned, his contract, whatever the salary was. If a Hakeem Olajuwon-like player came, if a clone of Hakeem now, he'd be getting paid.
He'd be one of the highest paid players in the
number
NBA.
3,
Yeah.
maybe number 2. Interesting that Zydrunas Ilgauskas, also just a long time in the NBA, great player from Lithuania. Let's move also now to the more interesting, the top 5.
And we'll break it down with, well, Stevie. Oh, Tony Parker's in there. So Stevie Canada doesn't count.
I was going to say, you made a good point that Canada shouldn't count because Andrew Wiggins is going to be on there eventually too. It comes down to this. All 10 of these guys had, at the bare minimum, good NBA careers, and about 4 to 5 of them are Hall of Famers. Hakeem Olajuwon for sure. I think Mutombo's a Hall of Famer for sure. Pau Gasol's a surefire. Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, Hall of Fame players. I underestimated. It's at least 6 of them are Hall of Famers.
Did you say Mutombo, or did you say no?
No. Hall of Fame commercial salesman too. But I wanted to highlight the 3 in Steve Nash, Pau Gasol, and Dirk Nowitzki. And this is nothing against Hakeem. I know a lot of people, I talk about this all the time. My upbringing with the NBA, I didn't get to see enough of Hakeem Olajuwon. I did get to see a lot of Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, and Pau Gasol. Dirk just became the 6th greatest scorer in NBA history. Dirk did so much to revolutionize the NBA, a big man taking threes, a big man stepping out on the wing and taking shots, causing nightmares for defenses. It's not surprising that he's paid that much money, and there's an argument that Dirk, some people I'm sure will put him in their top 10.
1, 2, 3. We are the champions. We are the champions.
You look at the NBA in Europe, right? We're seeing a lot more players coming in from European leagues. I think we owe a lot to Dirk Nowitzki for that. Like 100%. He transcended the game. Of course, we talk about Kobe, LeBron. They are well-known names. I still, when I went back home and talked to people in Scotland, how I cover the sport more and talk to them a little bit about basketball, they just know the name. They don't really know what kind of the impact and how it stands. But I know, having traveled Europe, there's a lot of, obviously, major basketball fans there, and Dirk Nowitzki is always one that is brought up because he helped transcend the game. And now you see players coming in who are trying to emulate him, like Porzingis, who's been compared to him. Will he ever feature on that list?
Godzingis. Thank you.
Godzingis, is that his new nickname?
He's a god.
Can see it. So what about him? I mean, he's someone that's coming in to the sport where...
If he becomes one of these $200 million guys and becomes a surefire Hall of Famer, and the Knicks win a championship.
Okay, the new year's gone. That's your dreams are fading here, right? We don't just want to jump in and throw our dreams out. We're not trying to do what we do on the clip and just present all of our dreams at the start. You need to. It's a slow build.
Here lies
you need
our
to add
dreams.
more players. But the question is to you. You made a good point. Well, we both made the point. Is that obviously the more relevant players who have came into the sport recently, and by recently I mean the last 10, 15 years, where athletes are paid stupid money. And someone like Porzingis, who is playing very well, it's early in his career, do you see someone like him potentially making the money-making list like that? Because his contract is only going to grow the more he plays and the better he becomes.
Can he? Yes. Will he? I really hope so. I don't know for sure. I mean, dude, these guys that are 7'3", even 7-footers, there's always the injury risk. The injury risk is much higher for a 7-footer than it is for the 6'6" guy. And you look at the build of Porzingis. He's thin. He needs to fill out. Like Dirk, at least for his height, never really got thick. but he filled out. You know, he could take the physicality of the NBA. Dikembe Mutombo was a built dude. Yeah. I mean, Pau Gasol had that Spanish.
Yeah, he's got that burly looks to him. He's been wrestling a lot of bulls.
He's like a grizzly man. And that's the other guy I wanted to talk about too was Pau Gasol, because you look at Pau and, you know, for anybody who's real, I want to say that Pau's earned his money more than anybody else on that list.
Yeah, no doubt.
Pau is a workhorse, and he really understands the game of basketball. Wherever he's gone, you know, he got traded for his own brother to go to the Lakers, and Laker fans idolize Pau because he came and he did his job, and he was so instrumental in them winning championships. And now on the Bulls, you know, here's a guy that's getting into his mid-30s, and he's still not as efficient, but it's the stats that don't get quantified enough, those plus minuses, and when he's on the floor, the team is better type of thing. It's also just the breed of Spanish basketball that is really enjoyable to watch on the international level with his brother Mark, with guys like Calderon.
Where's Mark lining up in this list? I mean,
he shouldn't be that far behind. I don't know where he is exactly on that list, but he plays probably 2 or 3 more years. He's going to get close to that top 10 just from longevity purposes.
Just what you mentioned there about Gasol, it's that the player that's just instrumental when he plays, despite the fact the statistics might not always back it up. And I met a couple of Chicago fans when I was traveling on my 38-hour travel or something like that. It honestly felt like I was walking across the Sahara trying to get back home. It's awful. But I met a couple of Chicago Bulls fans, and they idolize someone like Gasol, and it is someone that their fans love and respect what he's bringing to that team and making them a dominant
force. He's
like
a Philip Lahm. He's just high IQ. He doesn't ever make he doesn't make a bad mistake.
Jason made the football.
I did this time.
Have my head.
But and not to overshadow the other ones on this list, I know we only talked about really those 2. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs. Was the best guard in the NBA for a long time. But we mentioned that it's Canada, so that's not really international.
Is that more you, or is that more the Americans' view towards Canada?
I mean, South Park's building a wall between the U.S. and Canada.
But then you wouldn't get any more Drakes of the world.
Blame Canada. That's a win for us.
You need to get over your Drake hatred.
Legend is a decent song.
That's it. Hotline Bling's probably the most played song this year. You know every single word of that song, there's no doubt. And do you know the dance?